Father, in the name of Jesus, I cancel it. I cancel it. I cancel it. All right. Have you ever found yourself sleeping when you are supposed to pray? Yes, most human beings have experienced that. And we know that it is not supposed to be so. If you are praying, you're supposed to pray. If you want to sleep, you're supposed to sleep. So, why do people fall asleep when they are praying? So, I'm going to give us 4 reasons, 4 possible reasons why people sleep when they are praying. And no, I will not give credit to your belief people. I know the devil intercepts people from praying. I know that, but it's not about the devil now. There are some other reasons why people sleep when they're supposed to be praying. So let's take a look at them. Number one, when you fix your prayer time, the moment you're supposed to be sleeping, you'll most likely fall asleep. So let's assume that someone who has gone to the office or has gone to work, comes back, is exhausted, is tired, is supposed to sleep at night because of the work of the day. If you choose to pray at that particular point in time, there are chances that you will fall asleep. So number one, you put prayer the time you're supposed to be sleeping. It makes people to sleep. Number two, when you eat much food, you overload your belly, you overload your stomach with food before prayer time. Expectedly, you will sleep. And so let's assume that you intend to pray in the night. For example, you want to pray around 12 a.m., you just want to observe vigil and all that. It is wise not to eat too much before you sleep or not to eat heavy food. When you take something very heavy, you will sleep longer. You will sleep beyond that time, or even if you wake up by that time and you want to pray, you'll be feeling sleepy. So yes, the kind of food you eat before you sleep or before you pray or around your prayer time actually affects the way you will pray. So that's the second reason. Another reason why people fall asleep, and this one is more common, is your prayer position. I've had people that say they can pray when they are lying down. Well, it's possible, but there are high chances that when you lie down to pray, that prayer will not be long. After like 10 minutes, you are gone. If you find yourself praying and you fall asleep, and when you wake up, you don't even remember whether you have prayed or not, most likely you have not prayed, and you will need to repray that prayer again. So, yes, your prayer position, your position also affects you, makes you sleep when you're supposed to be praying. Sometimes when you wake up and you kneel down and you realize that kneeling down, you are still feeling sleepy. Well, a person that wants to really pray will stand up and start pacing or will change position. If you sit down to pray and you realize that your body is too relaxed and you are unable to pray, you are feeling dizzy and all that, you are expected to change position. So, yes, the position you maintain before you pray will determine whether you will sleep or not. So, for those that say they like to lie down before they pray or they pray like pray, I don't think that's a very smart thing to do. Unless maybe you want to sleep, it's time to sleep, and you just okay, let me pray before sleeping. It's not really a specific prayer time. You want to transition into sleep with prayer. That's okay. But when you have you wake up and you want to have your normal devotion, or you have a fixed time for prayer, you want to observe it. It is not smart to lie down on the bed in a comfortable position and say you want to pray. You will barely pray long in that kind of position. You will easily fall asleep. Then the fourth reason why most people fall asleep when they pray is mostly because perhaps they've not given prayer much priority in their life. When you consider prayer to be very important, you will do everything you can to stay out of sleep when you want to pray. So, we human beings, if something is very important to us, we put in our effort to ensure that that thing we get it done. Okay, so most people, they consider prayer optional. So if they fall asleep, they don't care. A normal believer should be concerned if he or she falls asleep when praying every time. Maybe once in a while it can happen, but when it's already steady in your prayer time and you're falling asleep and you just feel okay, something is wrong. It's probably because you've not given much priority to prayer. So prayer is an appointment with God. You say, I'm meeting with you, sir. We are discussing this. I'm praising you. I'm worshiping you. You should not fall asleep when you are doing that. Imagine you set up a meeting with somebody, and when the person comes into your presence, the person starts sleeping. It's exactly how it is when all the time you are falling asleep in the place of prayer. So these are the reasons, and there are, of course, I know the devil also influences that, but I can assure you, more often than not, people that fall asleep during prayer is not really the devil. In fact, that you are even in the place of prayer is a sign that you are people, at least some people are not even bothered about prayer. So you even get there, you fall asleep. So you've gone far than those that decide not to even pray at all. And this reminds me of the story of Jesus and the disciple. He took Peter, James, and John to go and pray. And then he kept the two of them the three of them somewhere and said, "Watch with me. I want to go and pray." And then while Jesus was praying, probably was not hearing their prayers. He just came after 1 hour. He came back and checked and saw that they were sleeping. Jesus said, you can't pray for 1 hour. Why are you asleep? He woke them up. And so I'm sure they must started praying again. And then when Jesus went back to his own position, he noticed that their voice was no longer loud. Went back there and still saw them sleeping. What is the problem? Wake up 1 hour. These guys were sleeping. Well, something very, very important was mentioned in that scripture. The Bible says their eyes were heavy with sleep. So I just assume personally that those guys were not used to night prayer. Jesus Christ prays all night very well. Those guys were not used to it at all. So when they were supposed to be sleeping, Jesus asked them to pray with him. That was why their eyes were very heavy. When an important subject was supposed to be prayed about, their eyes were still heavy. Somebody is about to die, and yet they don't consider it as something they should be praying about. So it's because they were not used to that. So they were supposed to be sleeping, and Jesus asked them to pray. So if you consider prayer very important, you will schedule an appropriate time for it, and then you will try to defer sleep so that you could pray. Now, of course, this applies not just to night prayers. I'm talking about even your morning devotion, afternoon or evening prayers. People still fall asleep no matter the time they're supposed to pray. So these are the reasons why people fall asleep. And I believe that when you put your heart to something and you trust God and you use wisdom, yeah, you will find your way around it. Those fall asleep when you are praying again. God bless you.